feel like I'm in a time warp. So all this stuff is happening in the world. I don't even know what. Mainly, the big thing that's happened is the Hurricane Helene in western North Carolina, which is absolutely horrifying in my mind. And it's hard to even know where to start. So I put up some links this morning of places to give help. And I've been on a Disney cruise. Talk about, obviously not in Western North Carolina, but, I was on a Disney cruise with my person, Amos, with autism. And I've been behind. I haven't really been paying attention to what's been, not paying attention, but I've been busy. And this morning, I sort of started tuning into what was happening around and reading messages. And I'll tell you what, I have so many messages of people that are missing. And I feel helpless, please pray for us. Out of power since Friday, hours wait for gas, and grocery store not open. Oh, Andrea. Buncombe County, I think people know, it's Asheville, North Carolina. If you have a person that is missing, if you want to comment their name and say missing, if you are a person that you have not been able to talk to your family, I'm doubting you're here, but you could say not lost. What is a good way to help? I did the Red Cross link for North Carolina. I think there are lots of ways to help. I love the Red Cross. I like the Red Cross, but I think there's multiple ways to help. I know in my own community, there is Colony Tire is a business in town. They're sending an 18-wheeler up with supplies. I think a zillion different ways you could help. I just wanted to do something. So I went ahead and shared a few links where you could choose. I put them on Instagram and on Facebook. And I've got to figure out the best way for me to use my platform and help. And it's funny, not funny, but like we're selling wrapping paper for my school system. And this week was my week of selling wrapping paper. And I'm like, how can I sell wrapping paper when they're like people with nothing to eat? And I think we're all aware of how our own problems are minuscule compared to other people's problems. And it's always going to be like, there's always somebody, but I think when it hits your own state, you think, wow. And this area of North Carolina, rural, it's sort of like rural Eastern North Carolina. There's a lot of poverty and families that have been there for generations. It's not a big city, and so you have, years ago, we had Hurricane Floyd in Nash County, which is where I'm from, and the water came up and we had like 200,000 pigs died in the water. I mean, you could take a boat from my town like to the beach, and it was terrible. But we didn't have the loss of the roads. So you think about flooding and that being in the mountains. So then at least like where we were, you could have gotten in a boat and gotten the hell out of there. Where in the mountains, you can't. You're stuck. So it's a big deal. It's a big deal. And I saw one post where the girl had put up a picture of her parents on a roof and said, my parents are on their roof and this is their address, and they need picked up. And then 6 hours later, she put up a post and said, update, my parents and nephew drowned because the roof collapsed. And we're just not used to things like that here. Another friend of mine this morning said she was talking to a friend who maybe has a second home up there, and they were talking to a person that helps them do stuff. And she said, my grandparents were in their house and their house is washed away. We don't think they didn't make it. And, that's third world country stuff. That is not, that's stuff that we don't encounter in the United States. We kind of think, oh, that's over in another country. That's not in our country, much less our state. So that is, it's a lot. So I'm getting all these messages of people that, getting all these messages of people whose family members are missing. And I just said to my mom, like, I had 18 messages. I haven't even been through all my messages. 18 messages this morning from people that said, this is my son, Cameron. The last time we talked to him, he was in his truck. We haven't found him. Are you home already? Well, I'm at my parents' house now, Kate, till tomorrow. We fly out tomorrow. And I don't know what to do. Do I share all the people that are missing? But my gut is if people are missing, the first people they're going to call are their parents. But I think when you're a family and your child is missing, you want to say my child's missing. And not because you think that these people out here in the internet land are going to help them. You're desperate. You're desperate. Do we have an approximate number of missing people? I think the number is 600-ish, but I don't think anybody really has a way of knowing. I put up a link. There is a number that you can call. And if you call that number, hold on, let me get off the internet. There's a number you can call. I believe it's 221. And if you call that number, you give information of people that are missing. And that is kind of the state is trying to collect a database of names that are missing so that then they can measure it against people that have said, I'm here. Is there a state missing site? Yes, Amelia. You dial 221. I think, let me look. North Carolina Emergency Management 211. Be prepared to tell the person's name, a description, where they lived, and when they were last seen. 211, sorry, North Carolina Emergency Management. I do think that's really important to share that. There's an effort by the city of Hickory and United Way partnering with Red Cross to share how to donate products in Hickory for things to go up to the mountain. Julie, you are welcome, but I'm telling you, there are so many people helping. I think if my goal would be not to share what every community and town in North Carolina is doing. I mean, there are 3 things happening in Chowan County. We're 7 hours from the mountains, 18 wheelers being loaded up. What I would tell people to do instead of me sharing it is if you live in a community, go to Facebook and do a search in your area, how to help. And then you're going to find out how to help in your area. So if you live in Hickory, you could say Hickory help victims of Helene. And then my expectation would be that things would show up that are already happening. 90 is the death toll. Well, this morning, I think it was 116, at least 30 from Buncombe County. The problem is people are taking things to the airport when the airport cannot take the items. Well, I would encourage people, in my mind, if you give a local, I think there's like a Baptist church organization, a Presbyterian church organization. Money is needed to pay for gas for the helicopters. If there's an 18-wheeler near you and it's going up the mountain and it's gotten approval, take something over there. I do think money is key, but please pin the link in the comments. If you put up the link, I will pin it. Happy to do that. Happy to do that. I think everybody wants to help, right? And nobody knows quite what to do. I don't know what to do. How do I use my platform to help other people? I share the links. I would encourage you to maybe take a breath and say, okay, I can help one person today. Who am I going to help? Blood donations. Excellent idea. Red Cross has asked for blood. Supply drop-off anywhere near Hendersonville. If you have a supply drop-off and you want to put it in the comments, please do. Carolina Rescue Emergency Services. 1,000 people are still missing. I think to what my understanding is from some of these messages I received is people got up the morning of the flooding, and at 6 a.m., they were like, boy, it's not too bad. And between 6 a.m. and 9 a.m., people were looking at water out in front of their house to being in their attics or being on the roof. Nancy said, I'm trying to find Jan Gibney. She's a 75-year-old retired teacher from Wilmington. She's originally from Hendersonville. She's a widow and has no children. If anybody knows anything, Jan Gibney. Jan Gibney. If you have a drone and can afford to donate it, they need them to take insulin and other drugs to people. There was a list of people from an area where people signed up and said, this is where I am. Here's my name. They need infant formula. They have more pet food than formula. You know, I'm amazed. And if you don't laugh, you're going to cry. So I think all of us have probably shed a few tears over this, but I'm amazed how many people are dedicated to their pets, because maybe having a 10-year-old with autism, and there are people that are like, I have 4 cats. I have the 4 cats in the Tupperware tub. We're on the roof with the 4 cats. And I'm like, these are good people, because Adrian would be like, and my mother was like, you wouldn't save the cats? I'm like, I would want to save the cats. But if you have like multiple children and cats, like at some point you might have to choose who to save. This is bad times. And I think we love we love an animal. Don't go to look at the area. I do not think, I would be concerned if anyone was going up to the area to try to look around. The Walmart in Boone is closed to do flooding. I asked my son, I said, you have a good friend who is at Appalachian, how is he doing? And he said, well, he looked like he was having fun. He was on a slip and slide. It's like, well, that's good. Asheville has an emergency center for those with medical needs. I think these areas are so small. There's so many communities and towns. I don't know if you've ever been to the North Carolina mountains, but I have. It's 7 hours away from us, so we don't go as often as I would like to. But we did a mission trip. Our church has a place called Glory Ridge. It's through the Episcopal Diocese. Beautiful, in near Marshall. And we were going to help fix people's houses. There are a lot of poor people there. And so the people that it's hit are poor people, for the most part. And if you want to drive, like I remember being at somebody's house and saying, okay, well, we've got to go get new linoleum. We're going to do the kitchen. So I'm going to drive to Lowe's. Everywhere you drove, in my mind, whether to the dump or to wherever, took 45 minutes. 45 minutes. I mean, I was like, and I live in rural North Carolina, 45 minutes to get anywhere. Mountain roads. So again, this isn't Florida, where when Hurricane Andrew hit here, they're 3 blocks from the beach, there's 3 feet of water in this house. You could still get here. The roads were here. There was no mountains. Very different. Very different. How did the mountains get flooded? Well, the Broad River is very large in Lake Lure. Do you know where people can send supplies? Mary Pat, there are a lot of different places to help. I would encourage you to look and see what somebody in your area is doing. Sometimes I think we want to send dog food or formula. Is it better to send money? Was Banner Elk affected? Yes. Everywhere in that area was affected. A lot of hollows, unmarked roads. Yes. Yes, and 30 inches of rain. That's exactly right. Samaritan's Purse is local on the ground. Yes, I shared Samaritan's Purse link on my Instagram. I think it's really, if you want to help, let's help. Um, and most of us can help in some way. You know, how do we work smart? How do we work smart? Boone is beautiful. I think where my heart is saying I need to help is with the public schools. And I don't know quite how I'm going to do that, but it seems ironic that this was the week to sell the wrapping paper so that our kids can go on field trips, which is still really important. But right now, there are thousands of children that their schools no longer exist. There are no school buses. Their families don't have homes. What can we do for them? You know, that's really big. Yeah, a lot of people in the mountains don't have home insurance because it's expensive. Um, You know, I think we think, oh, wow, yeah, everybody's got home insurance. Not everybody does. Airlifting people out of Banner Elk, the only way in and out. Have family with a toddler trapped and they've run out of water. So, yeah, to me, the public school system, I just really am concerned. I'm really concerned. And I tell you what, if you you don't want to make this political, I would just ask you to consider who is in charge in your state and who you want to vote to be in charge. Would you feel good about Mark Robinson being in charge of this? Because I wouldn't. Would you feel good about Michelle Morrow being in charge of the school system when she says our public schools are a cesspool of evil? I wouldn't. You know, I want somebody that really cares about the children, not somebody that's just trying to get a free house to live in or a job because they can't do anything else. We had 65 inches of rain during Harvey, and it was nothing like the damage here. The mountains had so much more water in concentrated areas. Yeah. The dams were overwhelmed and breached, flooded with the valleys below where most towns are located. Up the mountains, homes are cut into the mountainside. So anyway, I just think you really think about that because, and how are people going to vote? We have a big election coming up. Where are people going to vote? You know, I mean, Mark Robinson the other night put his hand on the car hood of a monster truck and had a second-degree burn and went to the hospital. Now, if you don't think that was a publicity stunt, then you crazy. I had third-degree burns on my arm. Did I go to the hospital? No, because I didn't need attention. What do you know about Cary, North Carolina? Cary, North Carolina is fine. Cary, North Carolina is central North Carolina. Yeah, I'm a Republican. I don't think Robinson has a snowball's chance. Who is going to vote for him? You know, Robin, I think it's a concern. I think he is using this pretty big event to take the pressure off himself on, you know, nude Africa. And I think he is thinking people may remember me for being the savior instead of the person that said they would buy slaves if they were available. Yeah, I mean, Mark Robinson doesn't want government help. That means no FEMA. Do you want a government that doesn't want FEMA? Or Michelle Morrow doesn't want federal dollars for public school systems because it comes with strings attached? How would that work in the state of North Carolina if we had no federal dollars? Just think through some of these things. It's really important. It's really important. So yeah, I think I'm still going to talk politics because I think when the rubber meets the road, who is going to help you and be concerned for you? We're trying to get in touch with our neighbors in Banner Elk. Bridge collapsed. They're all elderly. One couple lives in a trailer. Yes. 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 Loved ones, homes, businesses, schools. I think you woke up today, you had not only no power, you had no house, no school, no car, no job. What are you supposed to do? What are you supposed to do? And you can't get out. And you have children. Mo Green posted the link on his website, ncae.org/Helene. I saw that he did that. I don't know I want to look in to see what that is doing. I don't just want to say, here you go, here, give them your money. I want to look and see exactly what that link is going to. So, anyway, just because Mo shared it doesn't mean I'm going to share it. I looked into the other ones I shared. So, I think that's important. We should always vet. Even if I give you something, you should vet it yourself. Yeah, it's very similar to voting, right? You want to look for yourself, find out. Look for yourself. Heard from my family in Asheville. I think this is, you even think about, I'm on this island right now, Key Biscayne, beautiful South Florida. My family's been here for, I don't know, 60 years. But it's wealthy. It's a wealthy place. So when it got flooded by Andrew, it was terrible and awful. But people were going to be okay, And I think it's different when tragedy strikes people that aren't wealthy. I mean, that's why you don't hear people, I hope, complaining about, oh, my second house, we're worried it washed away. Like, if you have a second house and it washed away, like, you weren't in it. There was some person the other day, the very first, like, I need rescued post just hit a nerve with me. And it was like, we're here in an Airbnb in Chimney Rock with our 2 golden doodles and our 4-year-old, and we're going to run out of food in a couple days. But it's like, are you kidding me? You went to stay in an Airbnb when catastrophic flooding was predicted? Like, I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry. Yes, I'm mean. I know. But don't put that up there. Don't put that up there. It is so deaf, tone deaf to me, but I'm crazy. World Central Kitchen, said Maxine. Baptist on Mission. Operation Airdrop, I shared that link. Samaritan's Purse. We had some trees down. They did not land on the house. It was not predicted. Well, what was predicted was catastrophic flooding in western North Carolina. So yes, it was predicted. It wasn't, they didn't say this is going to be the worst flooding you've seen in 100 years. And I'm saying people that lived there, that's their home. Like, what are they supposed to do? But going to stay in an Airbnb when a hurricane is going to impact it is stupid. What? Are you not supposed to say things like that? I'm my father's child. I'm sorry, but it's stupid. If I had gone to stay in Asheville and put up a Facebook post and said, my 2 golden doodles and my 4-year-old, we are up here in this Airbnb and we need help, I hope somebody would knock my front teeth out. People get their feelings hurt. Well, they have no money to evacuate. Exactly, Brandy. Yes, this is not about people that live in the mountains. Absolutely not. You're exactly right. I mean, where do you go? Where do you go? But And the fact that it got shared so many times, and I'll admit, when I first saw that post, I was like, oh no, these poor people. And then I was like, Adrian, have you lost your mind? When you travel with 2 golden doodles on vacation, I think you're going to be fine. And you can go like 2 weeks without food. I live in Greenville, South Carolina, and they were talking about the flooding on our news before the hurricane ever hit, and they were showing the water in Asheville the day before. They did say the floods were going to be bad. Yes, they did. Mom, there was this post on Facebook, and it was the very first one I saw. Let's ask my mother, because she's nice. This is our litmus test.
Is this about a cat?
No, it's not about a cat. I already talked about the cats. Mom, if you had to pick between me and the cat, who would you pick?
You.
That's a lie. It's not true. Are you sure they were on vacation? Yes, Kate, I'm sure. They said, we're on vacation. No, what I'm talking about, there's this family, and they had their 2 golden doodles and their 4-year-old, and they went to stay in an Airbnb for the weekend, knowing the hurricane was coming. And they're the very first people to say, we need rescued. Now, do you think, does that make sense? Yeah.
It doesn't.
See, there you have it. If she says it doesn't make sense, then it's bad. You can say what you can. I'm sad for everyone. Well, I'm not sad for them. They got the hell out of there. The first ones. Chimney Rock was washed away, but no one knew. Well, the actual rock was not washed away. The town was washed away. A beautiful, amazing town. So if you had never been to Chimney Rock, you missed it. Our favorite place as a family to go every 3 or 4 years, and we would stay in a cabin right by the river. And then if you drove about, I think it was about 25 minutes, you'd get to Lake Lure. Beautiful, beautiful. Who would think the hurricane would reach the mountain? Well, the National Weather Service did. I mean, they said it's going to be catastrophic flooding. But I think it's 1916. I saw some pictures that looked very similar. Yes, you don't go on vacation if a major weather event is happening. It would be like driving to the beach and being like, I'm going to the beach for the weekend, and there's a hurricane coming. And then you're at the beach, and your house starts to cave in, and you send out an SOS. I'm at the beach. Help me. I'm on vacation. No. They were on Banner Elk. NCDOT was making a makeshift road so they could drive out today. That's good. You went on a cruise with a hurricane coming. Phyllis, I did not. Mom, was there a hurricane coming when I got on the cruise?
No. Nope.
Phyllis, you're wrong. She told you. The hurricane was already past me. I was on a hurricane in the Bahamas, trying to help the local economy. I didn't go on a cruise in Tampa. I'm not a dumbass. The family paid for a helicopter to get them out. No, I did not. That is just embarrassing. They should have been up there and suffered a little bit. You may have mentioned this, but the OBX dude who shares fake pics is now doing it with dogs on the roof. Ugh, there's this guy that's my nemesis, and it's called OBX Life. His name is Alex Lex. And whenever you pick on him, people are like, he has autism. Well, if he has autism, he sure is corrupt. He loves to put up fake pictures and then sell them. And I shared one of them of pink dolphins like rolling in the surf, and Facebook suspended me for sharing fake news. The whole post was about how he was sharing fake news. Anyway, don't be the person that needs rescuing or help because you're intentionally putting yourself in a bad position. Do not drive up to the mountains today and then fall off the mountain and then call the police. Do nothing like that. That is not helpful. Tell your mom she looks younger than you. Bonnie, I'm banning you.
Now that was a, obviously it's not my close-up. That's why I stand at a long distance away.
Yeah. Anyway, don't cause more problems.
You need to add Mrs. Pruitt on there
Why?
when you stayed for the hurricane.
Oh, yeah.
You were about 15, 18?
I stayed at a hurricane at the beach, but I didn't go to the beach to be in a hurricane.
No, you
I was
were
already
already
at the
there.
beach. My papa left me a message and said, Adrian, this is your papa. Evacuate immediately. Evacuate. Thank you, Judy. Adrian's Real News. That might be my new channel, ARN, like NPR. So they issue evacuation after the flooding, and it's those people's fault they were there. I don't know where you have gotten that Sabra Victory. And is that your real name? Never met anybody with the last name Victory, except Karen. Hurricane George, it changed directions at the last minute. And the Windjammer crews went out to sea to protect it, and all 34 crew members were killed. Oh, I didn't know that. Did you, Mom?
Yeah, I think I remember that. It was, I was thinking it was not a cruise boat, but it was doing something else. Dad would remember. He's the one that remembers.
You know how Michelle Morrow pretends to be a teacher? It's sort of like my mother, who's pretending to be a pharmacist. What are you doing over here?
I'm pretty good at this, actually.
What is this?
I hope I'm around when you're my age so I can watch
Are
you
these
do
for
film.
you?
Yes, of course they're for me.
All of them are Dad's.
He does his own.
Nobody's going to accuse her of poisoning them. What are all these things?
They're mine.
$100? That's a lot. Spending my inheritance on.
Gets rid of hot flashes.
Oh, do you still have?
Yeah.
Well, they should be
I
done
think that's
by
my
now.
coffee. I'm not sure.
No, it's mine.
Oh, good. No, they're not. They're not.
My husband's niece is trapped with her 2 children. She got to a Taco Bell for cell service. Her basement is flooded, no electricity still. Well, I'm glad she's somewhere safe.
Adrian, you'd like being at Taco Bell.
I'd like to be at Taco Bell. How on earth did you get back to your parents that fast from the boat?
That's what we were asking.
I should have been here an hour earlier. It took an hour and 40 minutes.
You came in at drive. Well, they like getting you off the boat.
I know Sabra is a real name and pretty. The last name is Victory. Is Victory a last name? I have never met anybody with the last name Victory. It'd be like the last name being Referee. Oh, Natalie Berry is on here, Mom. She missed seeing you. I mean, I could say, like, look at the trees. They're green. And people would be like, you're so mean. Why'd you call the trees green? Your mom is 67.
Yeah, that sounds like a good age. I'd take that.
I mean, she had me when she was 18.
No, I've been younger than that, right?
No, I'm 49.
Why not? I'm not
67 minus 49 would be you were 18, right?
Yeah, except I hadn't had my birthday yet.
Oh. You didn't get your mother's nice gene? Maybe not. Hi. I tell you who I wouldn't want to be in a hurricane with is this person.
Mommy,
Yesy.
me and Phoebe is not scary.
No, not scary.
It's a nice show on Mickey Mouse.
Okay.
Can I watch it?
Yes.
You, me, and Fifi.
You, me, and Fifi.
Okay.
What is she taking for hot flashes? Now they want to know. She'll put up an affiliate link. Affiliate link. Your son is 49. So we got off the boat today, and the Disney cruise, which was really fun. And, you know, it's, well, I'm not even going to say it. Never mind.
Is it because I'm sitting here? Or what?
No, I don't want to be a complainer, but I am going to tell you, just because there's a hurricane, there still is something to be said for not immediately, you'll say this, I do this, but we get off the ship. Amos, it's a lot of anxiety for him to transition, particularly off something that he has enjoyed, like the Disney cruise. So it was smooth sailing. We got off okay. We go down the ramp. Well, the ramp was pretty steep, so his suitcase was getting away from him, which sort of stressed him out. Mom, what is your medicine for the hot flashes?
It's Estrovera by Metagenics.
Estrovera by Metagenics. And I am not recommending you take those. That is not for me, so don't come suing me if you take that stuff. And anyway, so his suitcase is going too fast, and he gets upset, and he kind of slings the suitcase. But it wasn't near anybody. It was no problem. He picked up the suitcase, and this man so the people that work for Disney are on the Disney boat. The second you step off the Disney boat, none of the people work for Disney, which I don't think is a great idea, but nobody asked me. It's like port people. So, but that has a lot to do with your experience. So if you have a bad experience in the port, you sort of are associating it with the cruise ship. But the cruise ship did pretty well. I mean, there are things they could improve upon, but it was pretty good. They were very open and amenable to learning, so that was good. So this man says to him, "Are you okay?" Now, one, it was a passive-aggressive question because he knew Amos threw the suitcase on purpose. It wasn't like Amos had fallen down and he was saying, "Are you okay?" in a normal way. "Are you okay?" Well, Amos didn't answer him because Amos was getting himself back together with the suitcase. And then the man says it again, but the man doesn't say, "Are you okay?" in this voice. The man is this loud. "Are you okay?"
Oh boy. Uh-oh.
And Amos says nothing. He puts his hand out on Amos and says, "I'm going to ask you again. Are you okay?" And I said, "Take your hand off of him. He has autism. And you are screaming." I always talk in this voice. And I said, "Then somebody needs to cut your tongue out." I think his name was Marshall. So I walk and the woman is like, "Oh, you've got to take the suitcase down the elevator." I said, "No problem." He comes over to her. He doesn't know I'm there to complain about me. And I said, "I can see you, and I would just love to point out that you're not yelling right now." "Well, I talk like that." I said, "No, you don't. You just were talking in a normal voice, and now you're screaming." And the problem is, I couldn't do anything about it because I had Amos. I had to get out of there. But I'm on to him. And I said to the lady, "What's his name?" And she was like, Marshall? I was like, she made that up. But I could not go back to see. But I'm going to find him. If I have to go all the way back to Fort Lauderdale and walk through that port. It's not a hurricane. We have electricity. Everything is fine. But holy cow.
You know, Adrian, he didn't get it. He just didn't get it.
Well, it's not that he didn't get it. He went out of his way to be difficult.
Right. But
Like if you see
he had no
somebody,
clue.
yeah, but I don't know if maybe I could do a training at that port and I could use him as my example.
I'm surprised there's not a liaison with Disney there.
There needs to be.
That would be nice, but maybe that's overstepping, like,
No,
that's not their territory.
No, because what I was telling Disney last night, I met with Stephen, Gus, and Elizabeth. Those people are like, "Oh my gosh, if we have to talk to her one more time." But Stephen, Gus, and Elizabeth, like last night, we went to the show and they let, if you have a disability, they let you kind of go in the back entrance and go to the show. Wonderful. Well, Amos, it got too loud, very loud. So we left the show. So we went through the door we came in. Well, this man, Gus, was standing there and he was like, "What are you doing?" And I said, "Why are you yelling at me? We're leaving the show." "Well, you can't go through this door." And I said, "You know what? Then you should have told me what door to go through." Like, there's no communication happening. Like, I'm just supposed to dream all this stuff up that I'm supposed to know, but I don't
I
know.
would have gone out the door, went in.
It's because you have a brain. So, but they at least want to listen. And Elizabeth was like, "You're right. We have no plan in place. When you get on the ship, they clap loud." Well, clapping is for Amos is not like a big thing. It's great for some people, but not for everybody. You should have taken his picture. Well, you're right. I should have.
I don't think you're allowed to take pictures
If-
in the port.
If I hadn't, yes, you can't. Mom's now making up rules
Well, when
because
you
she's
pick-
afraid I'll
when
go
you-
take a picture.
When you pick up TSA, you can, because they yelled at me one time.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I put a picture up at TSA the other day.
Well, we were
Maybe if
like
it's
in
nice.
line to get off. That's when you had to give them your passport when you got off. Do you even have to do all that now?
Yes, you did, because I couldn't find my passport, so I had to unpack 2 suitcases in the line.
Wow. Usually you just do a face.
No, there's no global entry at the port. If you want to bring in drugs from Nassau, it looks pretty easy. I didn't bring any in. People without disability in their life can be rigid. It's so true, Kelsey. Very rigid. Yes, so TSA does a really nice job. In fact, I need to send a message about TSA Cares tomorrow. And I was telling Elizabeth that. I said, this could really be easy. When we get to the port, you could have a person meeting us. And it's not that many families. It's not like it would take, they've got so many employees in there. They have neurodiverse employees. I mean, it's awesome. So it's not really about me. It's about all the other people that think like they've waited their whole life to go on this cruise. And then they have some marshal screaming at them. It just ruins the whole thing. What drugs did you bring in? Well, none, but I tell you what, at that point, I could have used something. I don't know what I would have looked like. Somebody just said I look like Diddy's victim. Why are these people on YouTube? What do they do? Oh, I like to ask people's names. No, I lots of people's names, and they were very nice. But that guy, Marshall. So if you're getting off the Disney cruise boat today, or whenever, and you hear the very loud person yelling, record them and send it to me. Because I really wish I had recorded him. But I couldn't because I had Amos. Last year my credit card didn't work and the boat didn't take Apple Pay. That was Royal Caribbean. And they told me if I didn't come up with a credit card or find a friend with one, the person on Royal Caribbean told me that they were going to call the port authority and arrest me. And again, if I didn't have Amos, I would have gone through with it. I'd love to end up in a Miami prison over the fact that their Apple Pay didn't work. Do they have specially tailored events for autistic people? No, not at all. They do not. They do not. But I think they can, and I think maybe if we really pushed them, they will. Are you going to write an email? Oh, yeah, I'm calling Disney. I got their phone number right here. Oh, golly Moses. Maybe I'll look for him and see if anybody else put a post up about him. But anyway, I digress. People in Western North Carolina, lots of love to you. You're probably not even able to watch this, but just know that we are thinking of you and sharing links and trying to help you in the best way we can. And if there's anything I can do specifically, send me a message. If I can do something that's helpful, I will. Well, hey, Holden. Holden, are you at lunch? I hope you're not in school. You were expecting too much from people that don't know what the need is. What does that mean? Expecting too much from the man screaming at Amos? No, I think that's just basic humanity. I don't think I was expecting too much. I just think if we don't know someone, we can generally be nice to them. And I don't think disciplining someone else's child is ever appropriate in that scenario, especially with neurodivergency. You know, he worked for the Port Authority. He was not like the game warden in the deer field. Carry on.